listen to the realest voice in progressive media. DJ L7.
Here we go. Yeah, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? You know, it's your boy DJ L7. We have guests on the program today. We have one of high interest. We're going to find out, though. I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
So, how's everybody doing out there today? Thanks for having me on the show today, DJ L7. My name is Joe Evans, and one of the interesting things about why I came on the show is because of my relationship with KRTD Media Group. You know, independent media getting out there, and from the perspective of, independent media, we're looking at research, education, discussion, dissemination about the public purpose and the overall goal of government. And with regards to that, you step back and you take a look at not just what KRTD Media is doing, but what brought me into KRTD Media in the first place. I am a libertarian candidate. I am running for U.S. Congress right now. I am what I consider to be an actionist, on medical marijuana and marijuana legalization, decriminalization, particularly here in my own state of Idaho.
I have some questions about that for a second. Yeah, I know you're a libertarian now, but you also have a background with the Green Party as well, correct?
Yes, I do. About 2-3 years ago, what was it? It was actually a little bit longer than that, but about 2-3 years ago, I was looking at what was going on with the duopoly. You saw what was going on with the Republicans, with the Democrats, and I'm going, you know what? Both of these parties, they're so far down the path of corruption. I can't go there, man. I'd just gotten out of Afghanistan, after my 4th tour. I was coming back. I was trying to reimagine myself and understand what needed to happen, in my nation, in my state, for my brothers and sisters that I served with, and the goals of, global peace.
What did you do after Afghanistan? You worked in a related field, or you went to do something else?
It's interesting. Afghanistan, all 3 trips, my primary field was signals intelligence analyst. So I was a military intel geek, and paying attention to what's going on with signals, what people are saying, what they're talking about, working with the interpreters that are sitting down and transcribing all of the phone calls. And, you start to get into that cycle and you go, dude, these people aren't, these are the defenders. These are the homeland defenders. These are the people trying to preserve a way of life.
Appreciate that.
And in a lot of cases, those people, it was about preservation of a particular way of life.
Okay.
They've been tribal for 6,000-7,000 years. They've been up there in the, Pashtun.
So you're a signal analyst, so you wanted telecommunications afterwards, or some type of other communications job work?
One of those, ironically, one of the things I went into was information technology management. I stepped out, I got a degree, went straight into college, picked up a major in information management technology. Because that was one of the things. It was data systems, data management, data analysis, pulling in all of that information, being able to correlate the information between the phone calls, the phone numbers, who was talking to who, doing the network diagrams, so that just bled straight into information technology management and a little bit of computer sci. I was looking at databases and the process for that, and that was the career field. And while I was looking at that, I also stepped into a couple minors as well. One of those minors was sustainability. I have a minor in sustainability at Boise State University, and I also have a minor in nonprofit management that came with that degree in Bachelor's of Business Administration and Information Technology Management.
Cool.
So that was what I was planning on doing, coming out of the Army, and then all of a sudden I start getting involved in the politics. I start getting involved in, the Democrat candidates I like, the Republican candidates I like, looking at what's going on with the third parties and looking at the Green and looking at their platform.
Around what year is this?
I got out of the service in 2013.
Okay.
Did 3 years to pick up my degree. Thank you. Life experience, pick a 4-year degree in 3. That's always nice. Then started getting involved in supporting the political movements, political things, what was going on. Bernie Sanders, of course, back in the day, I was looking at what he was doing in relationship to, and then from Bernie Sanders and the Hillary fiasco, looking at, well, what are my other options? So a lot of my friends that were looking at Bernie Sanders were going left. They were going towards the Greens.
Okay.
And, there's not a lot of green development here as far as the Green Party goes in Idaho. So I was paying attention to what else was going on. And as I started to come to terms with libertarianism, I started looking at that and the actual platform as opposed to what an awful lot of people were saying it meant.
I agree with you. I actually came to I'm actually libertarian as well. I was Green Party before. A lot of things that the libertarians now are super relevant, especially with like COVID mandates, stuff like that. The new level of, I'm sure I'm speaking this gospel to the choir, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
That's what this is about.
Yeah. So actually, I'm very interested because in this space, I really wish there was more crossover with libertarians. And the thing is that I was part of something called Power Anthem Network. Reed was part of that. I saw you on Reed's show, Reed Coverdale. Libertarians are the most successful third party in the nation, straight up. You know what I mean? That's why they're in your neighborhood. They have the most ballot access, and the left has a lot to learn from them. And whatever ideological differences there are, people have this word capitalism like it's a bad thing. But the fact of the matter is that, right, just like martial arts, right, it's not about the style, it's about the person doing it, right?
Exactly.
You could have someone BJJ, right, and never practices, never does anything. You know what I mean? You have a guy doing the lame one taekwondo, practicing every day. It's the dude's gonna win. It don't matter. It don't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just he didn't train. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's the thing, though.
That's why,
It's
like earlier
about
you said, also you're actionist. You actually have working knowledge, not just theoretical knowledge. A lot of people,
Right.
these freaking candidates, pundits, never fucking did this shit a day in their lives. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Right. And that's one of the things that I really find frustrating about the left is I am an anti-war actionist. I am a pro-peace actionist. I get out and I participate in the rallies, and I literally have people who have never even talked to a recruiter or a serviceman coming out. You don't know how to do peace.
Okay.
Oh, I know how to do war, and I know it's the wrong damn way.
All right.
And it's like, until you've been there and understand the damage that you do and begin to associate that with the humanity behind what you've done, you really can't comprehend the horrors of war in a way that you can actually be an actionist for peace.
I just want to ask really quick, how old are you?
I'm 53.
Oh, cool. So we're a similar age. I'm 45. Not like not so far, not so close, but pretty close. Yeah. So you've been around to see a bunch of things, and there's a generation that's a little bit older than us that went through Vietnam, and who knows that nowadays that the press is not showing you pictures of wartime. They know that this information is being covered up, and they know that that was the primary impetus for the anti-war movement, and they're just letting it happen. They should be shaking the walls down, saying, like, what the hell is going on? This is obviously, the manufacturing support and not giving us the true information. This is wrong and disgusting. So look, I'm on the choir too, man. I'm with you 100%.
And this is one of those things. It's actually an interesting discussion as you step back and you take a look at what's going on with that generation, with what is going on with the Vietnam era veterans. Okay, because the Vietnam era veterans were the ones that came back from the Vietnam War and started Veterans for Peace.
Yeah. Hey, and props to you for being a veteran, man. Respect for your service. Thank you. That's some real shit. You went back fucking 3 times? A lot of people done it once.
Because it was 3 in Afghanistan and once to Iraq. And the correlation to things and events that happened before and after I left, when ISIS went after the Yazidi on Mount Sinjar, and started their ethnic cleansing, because that's essentially what it was. ISIS was going after the Yazidis. It was an ethnic cleansing move.
Okay.
So it was attempted genocide. I actually walked on that mountain where ISIS was executing the Yazidis. And I did it about 4 years before that happened. So it's like, I've been there. and understand the nature of why the Yazidis called that a holy site. I walked on their holy ground while wearing the uniform of an enemy. And I'm like, dude,
I didn't sign up for this.
right?
Yeah.
You step back and
Surprise.
you go,
Yeah.
this is, I, you know, and you try and correlate that and connect your humanity to their humanity and understand the role you played in the destruction of a culture, the destruction of a society, the destruction of a faith. And you start walking it back and you go, I got it. There's shit I got to atone for.
Interesting. So that actually covers my next question because I was going to ask, because you said your awakening came like around like maybe 2016, like post-war, like after
Right.
your war experiences. So I started at a young age, right? Like I was in like college, like high school. Was the first chance that I could to start like doing this stuff because I was homeless at the age of 16. Like
Right.
I had gotten benefit from those systems, so I was eager to be one of those dudes, right? Like I was right there. But
Yeah.
it sounds like maybe going through war experiences maybe like opened your eyes to some things, and then you started, and that caused the political awakening. Because I was going to ask how you kind of got started with this whole political stuff, and you said 2016, so I'm just trying to line it up. Is that what happened?
2016 was about Bernie. It was about the anti-war effort. It was about creating peace.
Were you political before that,
And
maybe?
well, it was always a little bit before that because I understood the waste that was the United States military. It was one of the reasons why I went in and I looked at nonprofit management as a minor because I wanted to be able to do that, run nonprofits to help people. I was looking at sustainability as a minor because I wanted to get into sustainable culture, sustainable, farming, sustainable, you know, um, politics even. Being able to create that sense of cultural perpetuity that would allow people to continue to exist in a sustained state.
I got a lot of friends
And
into
from
permaculture. We talk about that on a regular basis. I mean,
permaculture,
people looking into
absolutely.
yeah. So
The
I'm down with that too,
concept of
man. Cool.
yeah, concept of down to the seventh generation. You know, right now we're stuck and this is one of the ironies of being an anti-capitalist libertarian.
Okay.
It's the idea that right now we are stuck in a system of systems where the corporations are stuck in a 90-day decision cycle.
Yeah, they're real slow. You're right about that.
Well, it's not that it's slow, it's actually really fast in terms
On
of
some things,
political scale, in terms of cultural scale. But they're stuck in the 90-day cycle. And the reason for the 90-day cycle is every quarter they have to generate a report that shows they're profitable. And they will burn through resources extremely quick in order to guarantee that bottom line after 90 days shows that they have improved.
Yeah.
We are stuck in what's basically the modern day version of the tragedy of the commons because this collectively owned organization, in order to meet goals, to generate sales on the New York Stock Exchange, to generate that transfer of stock, or even just to get people to hold it,
Okay.
requires that you burn through resources without regards to the next 90 days,
It's short-term
or
thinking,
with
right? Yeah.
regards to the
You just
5-year
got to
plan.
survive that quarter and make that, survive to the
Right.
next one, right? So actually, this leads up to my next question, right? Because I'm really just trying to get you better, know you better as a person, right? So the thing is that you talked about some broad subjects like capitalism, stuff like that, right?
Right.
Now, some people they build their knowledge, or they have like certain thinkers that they look up to, or they consider themselves to be maybe a disciple of, or coming from that school of thought. Maybe it doesn't have to be that level, right? But is there someone who's influential to your thoughts and about the way that you structure this whole thing? Is it coming from a already existing framework or movement, or is it kind of like your own synthesis?
I'll level with you. A lot of it's my own synthesis. I've had some good people that have been on the fringe of my thought process. Yeah, and I'll definitely give a shout out to some people like Spike Cohen, uh, Daniel Quitter. I think he's running for New York. these are libertarians who are coming at it from a position as ability diverse. You know, they have medical conditions. Most people would look at them and go, why are you running as a libertarian? How does a libertarian organization support what everybody else understands to be your needs? You know, because Spike Cohen, he's very open about his multiple sclerosis. Daniel Quitter, he rides around on basically an up-armored wheelchair because of his mobility issues. You know, and he's got medical conditions that honestly everybody's wondering how he's still alive, you know, 20, 30 years later, when his prognosis was death within 6 days of his birth. You know, and I'm looking at these people and I'm going, they see that something is wrong. They see that the current structure isn't fixed. You know, so I step back and I start going through some of the things. You know, I like Lysander Spooner. You know, I like Proudhon with, you know, his idea of mutualism, you know, from the anarchy at the lowest level.
Okay,
Some of the
this
others.
kind of leads to one of my other questions, because I know you're mentioning a lot of names. I'm going to have to look that up already. Wow, you know what I mean? That's quite a bit of homework already. But let's really focus once again on the action part of it, right? I know you're talking
Right.
about some theory now, but which one of these people maybe one of them has done something particularly effective, right? Or maybe, so as in terms of, right, this, we're talking about, we're already in the framework of people that, you know, what do you think is the most effectivest thing? Now, this, I have different series. I have one for candidates, right? And they have one for
Right.
activists. Right now, you're kind of going down the activist framework. I'm just getting to know you as a person, what you're passionate about, who you are, how you understand things, right? And then I can figure out how I can better work with you, right? So there's different, I have a very small audience, right? But it's really focused mostly towards people who are activists themselves, who want to understand, right, whether they're activists. But so right now you're sharing, right, what you feel were the most effective things, and other activists might be watching like, oh, you know, like, let me try that, right? So what do you think are some of the most effective things that activists can do?
I'll level it. One of my favorite actionists, and this is going to be Huey P. Newton.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? Right? The man made shit happen. You know, he was the guy. He didn't go after, you know, Martin Luther King's, you know, white collar liberals.
Okay.
Huey P. Newton went for the blue collar. He went for the guys who had to make things work in the community. He went to help the guys that worked in the mills, that worked in the factories. You know, it wasn't this white liberal, you know, let's all get dressed up in our Sunday best and go march across the bridge. This was people who were organizing, who had to live in low income because they weren't pulling in these white collar jobs. They were, you know, they were working in factories. Huey P. Newton got together the core
Okay.
of the labor, you know, real labor, blue collar labor. He pulled them together. And this was the same era as 1969. You had the Rainbow Coalition. You had rednecks out of Appalachia.
Quick question, okay?
Yes.
So when we're talking about labor,
Right.
AKA maybe sometimes people call it working class, sometimes, right? So if someone's like out of a job, right, some people consider that labor working class. Some people say they're not working, that's not labor. How do you, right? So I just want to clear what you mean by labor. What is labor in that framework for you?
Well, labor in that framework is basically anybody who's represented by the labor pool.
Okay.
Okay, because everybody still works. Everybody's still part of the community.
Okay, good to know.
Okay, now this thing with Huey P.
I would agree with
Newton,
that.
from the perspective of the Black Panthers, from the perspective of the young lords and the young patriots, you know, and that's what you were looking at. You were looking at ethnic diversity, you know, which at the time would have been considered racial diversity. You know, you had the Black Panthers that were representing, you know, African Americans in the inner cities. You had the young patriots that were veterans coming out of Appalachia that were going into the cities to work in the factories. You had the young lords, which were the Latino, you know, labor class or labor group, you know, that were representing. And all three of these groups, you know, they were card-carrying socialists.
Okay.
but not in the sense of Marxist socialists, because these were community leaders. This was ground level. This was bottom up. These were people like the Black Panthers who went in and said, we need to run a food bank so that we can feed our kids when they go into the classroom, so that they are learning on a full stomach, so they can learn their best. This was a policy created out of this Rainbow Coalition, out of the Black Panthers. And, it,
So
the big
coalitional
problem,
framework, right? A diverse coalitional framework. And that actually makes a lot of
yeah,
sense for why we're through with KRTD, because that's kind of what KRTD is doing. So it's consistent, you know what I mean? And I'd like to see consistency in the interview. That's a good sign. Yeah? That means I probably like that guy. Yeah? We'll see. We're going to keep going on. Yeah? So,
it's one of those things. You step back and you take a look at what Huey P. Newton did with the Black Panthers, the Rainbow Coalition, and that whole diversity uh, of backgrounds that all had a common cause of lifting up the community. You currently have things like the Cajun Navy that goes down and supports for recovery after, hurricanes
yeah.
and other things like that. Now, what we're doing with KRTD is we're taking that diversity in a different direction. We have strong female leads in Jimmy Sunderland. She's stepping up. Her ideas, we got Green Party representation, Red Berets. A lot of the people associated with it are with the Red Berets, so they understand the importance of community.
Okay.
Now, yeah, I'm not in agreement with an awful lot of their perspectives, because even though almost universally,
Okay.
KRTD media people are anti-corporate,
Okay.
and anti-capitalist in the specific term that all the capital in the United States is currently, or 95% of the capital in the U.S. is currently held by like 4 people.
The anti-corporate term is a little bit, hard to define. So I'm
It
not sure
really
exactly
is.
what that really means, but it's okay. You know what I mean? I get that when you say anti-corporate, I know it's generally in that. I know what it generally means, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't need to really dice it out here, yeah? Okay.
Right. But the thing is, one of the things that we've seen since Reagan, Reagan's term as president, is the consolidation of wealth.
Yeah.
We've seen Walmart stand up, and now Walmart is in every state across the nation.
I agree.
They got a store in almost every county.
Yeah.
Even small communities that didn't want Walmart in there, now have a Walmart adjacent.
Yeah.
You've seen small businesses. This goes back to one of those things, small businesses, they are what preserve the life of a community, more so than anything else. Okay, you take a look at what corporate does, whether it was Sears, Sears no longer, exists for reasons. But corporate, when you're looking at Amazon, when you're looking at Walmart, when you're looking at, any of these big box stores that come in and set up business in any community, all the profits from those stores leave the community.
This community decimated, man. I tell you, I'm
Right?
all over New York State, upstate New York. Crack houses everywhere, bro. Like, and the local businesses is all gone. Maybe there's 4,
Yeah.
5, 6 businesses left. That's it. And maybe and some restaurants, and there's no more local shops at all. It's all done. That's
None. It's gone. It's toast. Everybody's been shopping at Walmart.
fucking insane.
Walmart's able to go in. They're able to dump dump their goods, cut the prices, undercut the competition until they are the only market in town. And then next thing, the town is a company town.
Yeah.
All you got are people who are employed by there, people who buy there, and people who sell their services to one or the other groups.
Okay.
Whether it's drugs, whether it's sex, whether it's traffic,
Yeah.
You watch all of this become the company town, and you go, what happened to this community that existed even 5 years ago? We had little leagues,
Yeah, remember? And it would be like the name of the pizza place, and it would be like, like Ray's freaking Dodgers or something, you know what I mean? They would have like the name of something, and that's who would sponsor, those little teams and shit.
Yeah, except now you got the Little Caesars, and on the one end of the Walmart store, and it's the only pizza place in town anymore. And you're going,
But that's going down a lot because now that they're the only choice, right?
Yeah.
Now that a lot of those other stores closed, they don't have to advertise much anymore because they got rid of them. So, do they
Yeah.
really care about the community that much, or have they finished, right? Anyways,
They're done
so
with the community. You know,
yeah,
if you want to find culture in that community at this point, you have to leave that community.
yeah. By the way, if you've been enjoying this interview, I asked very similar questions of many activists, right? Like, what do they think are the most effective actions? Like, what other activists they study? So I encourage you to watch my other online activist series. I think this is definitely a good one here, and
Yeah.
you're gonna learn hopefully more tips as we go through this interview. Yeah. One of the
Yep.
other ones I have, unless you want to just clear up something else that from before, I just wanted to
Well,
get that little
no,
message in. Yeah, go ahead.
and this is one of those things. I've been working with an individual, Julie Woods, JWoww, and she's been involved in actionism for a
That's
while.
not from Jersey Shore, is it? There was a JWoww in Jersey Shore.
No, no,
It's all good.
no.
I think there was JWoww. I think so. It's all good. Okay.
Yeah, this is Planet JWoww. She refers to herself as the Urban Bliss Shaman. So if you go to planetjwow.com, you see an awful lot of what she's involved in. And, you know, a lot of these people that were involved in activism when COVID kicked off, you know, a lot of them sort of went recluse. You know, it was like we couldn't get out, we couldn't do the rallies, you know, because we didn't want to spread disease, you know, so we sort of went back in. And you see a lot of them recognizing now that, okay, we were quiet too long. You know, let's start reaching out on other forms of media, you know.
I'm with you, bro.
L7,
I'm with you. So
you know, JDL7, he's getting out there. He's putting out the information now.
definitely true. Definitely
How
true.
can we take our message and start putting it out there now that we don't have the rallies to go to? Now that, you know.
Well, I'll show you one thing. There's a couple things I'm working on right now, which actually
Yeah.
I think you might be actually interested in getting involved with. By the way, which you're running for state for a seat in your state, right?
First congressional district. I'm not actually running for a seat in Idaho. I'm actually running for Idaho's seat in Congress, in the U.S. Congress.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So I'm actually running for a federal seat, so
What
that I can.
are you running
do
with a
things
party?
at the federal level. I'm running as a libertarian
Sweet. Okay, so there's something
in an extremely red state.
That's cool, man. Actually, libertarians and the Republicans sometimes, you know, get along to a certain extent. Sometimes not, right? If you're competition, they're gonna come at you regardless.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah,
and
regardless.
this is one of those interesting scenarios because here in Idaho, we have a uniparty. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Supermajority in our Senate, supermajority in our House. Every one of our executive branch are GOP. Every one of them.
Yo, so check out this plan though. Yeah, this is a dope plan.
Okay.
So the thing is that there's something I'm working on called Unified Platform for 22, and the thing is that we're trying to put all together. There's something called, you could go out right now, independentcongress.com. We've tried to compile all the third-party independent candidates in the nation. Some of them we don't find out about, like yourself. Thank God I just found about you today. They could be running for any position, right, in 2022. Now the thing is that the duopoly, I've been part of the Green Party for over 25 years. I joined in the 90s because as an activist, a lot of times I would see as the Democrats, right, they said they were working with us, but then at the last minute, right, they would switch the shit up and they would like betray the plan. So I knew by actually being on the ground, right, just, you know, that being a soldier yourself, right, the press says something, the generals say another thing, but you know, from what you saw, right, a lot of things in ways that they didn't talk about. Same thing is true up in here, right? So in the third party space, right, the Democrats and Republicans I was aware from for a long time, and us being split, that's what I really like about you, Green Party and Libertarians together, right? Yeah, we can get it together. There's a lot of stuff that we have in common, so we're going to see if a majority of the candidates, right, can agree on the same thing. Right? We're probably not going to get agreement on abortion and gun control. Fuck it, right? But the 1% needs to stop fucking us, right? And we're going to agree on those things. Fauci's got to stop lying.
The left is going to agree on gun control. I mean,
yeah, and here's some high-profile people that are on board. Diane Sears running against Chuck Schumer. She's with the LaRouchians. Libertarian Party, also Jonathan Howe is running against AOC. By putting these candidates with you together in the same room, it can also help boost your candidacy and Jonathan Howe's candidacy, because it shows that you guys are working together, and it gives a bigger sense, and the press are going to have a harder time not talking about us when a majority of step up. So that, I think that's an interesting plan, and we have some already high-profile candidate races that we're in.
And that's a good one, because, and this goes back into the whole message of KRTD media.
I'd love to get you in on it.
Open discussion.
Hell yeah.
This is about creating the discussion. You know, and that's one of the things we haven't had in nearly 40 years in American politics. We haven't had the discussion. We've had rhetoric. We've had hyperbole. We've had all of these things.
One more thing here. You see this right here? These are 10,000 flyers right here. You see, I made like a whole shit ton of these. Yeah. These say,
Nice.
"Believe in yourself." Remember
Yes.
how the Bernie-crats, right? You see, it says "Believe in yourself." Remember the Bernie-crats, right? They took over the Nevada, right? The Nevada. You know what I mean? So here in New York City, there's something called county committee. This may be going on locally in your area now. The thing is
Nice.
that the county committee, fully 1/3 of the elected officials here in New York City leave early, fired,
Right.
died, retired, whatever, and their replacement is not done by election but by appointment by the county
Yes.
committee.
Yes.
So the thing is, that's a point of control. You maybe also be able to exert, and that's a great place for you to build your campaign, right? To find other people that are active on the grounds. Now, the fact of the matter is that, look, I've been running like a beast on the ground, but I'm sorry to fucking tell you, excuse my language, yeah. Did Biden have a ground game?
Show your language.
Did
Your
Bi-
language is what you need
Did
to,
Biden
man.
have a ground game? He couldn't even get 20 people to show up for a fucking car rally, yeah?
No, he couldn't.
Unfortunately, the casuals a lot of times win the day. It's not
Yeah.
easy winning this ground fight, but that's where I'm at. That's what I am. So I'm going to help you as much as I can. You could see like some of the things that even though you're in Idaho, I can still align some things to help you out. There's other things I'm working on, like the public housing. I'm organizing a national
Right.
symposium on that issue because they're ending it.
I remember talking to you about the public housing issue,
Yeah.
you know, and it's absolutely key.
If-
And it's one of those things,
Yeah.
let's take a moment to talk about public housing.
Let's go.
Right now, the issue that we have with socialized housing in the communities, every community has a housing authority. Right here in Boise, we have the Ada County Boise City Housing Authority, the ACBCHA. Yeah, every county has their own housing authority. Right now, they've been hamstrung because of federal law. And not just one federal law, but two federal laws. One is the local community housing authority can no longer build new community housing because the federals said they can't.
They're trying to end it as
They're
a
trying to end
concept.
it. And that was done under Clinton, of all people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Along comes Obama, Clinton 2.0.
I've been on welfare like 2 or 3 times, man. And in the office, they tell you, right, that Clinton's the one who changed it to workfare. They rub it in your face right there, yeah?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So, but
And
the public housing community, once again, if we can get a national symposium and get Idaho involved, right, then maybe we could put those people voting for you. Maybe we can get you to fucking win. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm really trying to do. Help people exactly in your place, right? Help you find a way to win. So I'm really happy to meet you, man.
But see, this is one of those things where you start getting into the idea of what is actionism versus activism. Okay? You can be active, but what exactly are you being active doing? By choosing to be an actionist, you have goals, you have an agenda, you have a destination in mind, and you have a path and a plan to get there. So when you step back and you relanguage, you're not an activist. You're an actionist.
It's cool, man. I could dig it.
You have actions that you are taking with an intended goal in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and that takes it from the realm of, yeah, he's just one of those people who likes to talk, who does the keyboard warrior thing. No. Ground game. He's in the fight. Action, action, action.
Okay, I have.
By taking that perspective and recognizing that the power that just that word now imbues with you, gives you back your power and accentuates your power, because now you're no longer looking at yourself as just, man, I'm just one of 100 million people who just got an idea. No.
So wait.
You're one of 500 with purpose.
So you were in the Army or the Marines or which one?
I was in the Army.
Okay, hell yeah. Army's cool, man. Yeah. I was a Tulsi fan, so she was the Army too, man. Army fan, yeah. Cool, Army, yeah, hell yeah.
Go Army MPs. What
yeah.
is she? A major? Is she a lieutenant colonel?
I think she got promoted, yes. I'm not sure
Okay.
about that, but anyways, let's get to the other piece of it. Yeah, so the thing is that you've been part of different organizations, part of the Greens, Libertarians, you've been in the Army, right?
Yeah.
Now the thing is that being part of we could be our full potential, but you can exceed that potential by being part of a team, and I think you see that, right? You're part of KRTD.
Oh, yeah,
Some of the
absolutely.
things you said earlier
Absolutely.
definitely point that out, right? And you also said one of the strengths is the diversity, so you definitely appreciate that more than most, and that's a central part of which I appreciate. So, but one of the problems of diversity is, right, then sometimes there's like a cacophony, sometimes there's a din, sometimes voices clashing. So what are the best practices that you've seen for organizations? There's a lot of activists watching who may be dealing with factionism within their own groups. Libertarians have something going on, right? What are the best
Right.
practices? How can they, I see a lot of manipulation of fresh volunteers coming and being used in horrible ways, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
NDAs
You know,
being,
and
yeah. So,
I think one of the biggest and most important things that people get lost, that really gets lost in the new structure, the new organization, or when you're looking at the takeover, and in some cases a hostile takeover. Both the Greens and the Libertarians right now are dealing with hostile takeovers with regards to their original values, with regards to their platform. People coming in and saying, yeah, I don't like the old platform, so I'm not even going to pretend to like it. And I'm going to tell you what I think it should be. If you don't agree with me, go away. We are seeing that. But when it comes to that grassroots movement, when it comes to that actionism, you need to have your mission statement, your vision, and your values nailed down. And it's like those things need to be part of your onboarding for every volunteer. That way, when somebody comes in and they say, I work for KRTD Media, they understand that the values that are associated with being a participant, being a volunteer, being an actionist associated with KRTD Media Group. Your values are leadership diversity, education, research, the public purpose, independent knowledge and production creation through critical exchange and evaluation, and strengthening the democracy of America.
I appreciate the complexity of the answer, and honestly, some people like 5-minute answers on YouTube, but the fact of the matter is that, right, these are more complex issues, and
Oh, yeah.
sometimes the 5-minute answer is the easy answer, but it's not always the right answer, or it's definitely not the complete answer. So,
Yeah.
thank you for your specificity and really digging in on that one. Yeah, appreciate it.
But one of the things you want to do is, as a founder of an organization,
I agree with that, by the way. I like that answer.
yeah, you need to embed your values into it, as well as make sure you understand that those are the values you want represented by the organization. We all have our own personal issues, but at the same time, as a founder of an organization, that organization, you are creating it for a specific purpose.
Okay.
So sometimes what your values are versus what the values you want instilled in the organization you are creating. If you're really doing a grassroots movement and you're not jumping on board with another organization, you establish those from the front so that the people that you bring in, initially you may think they think like you.
Okay, so from the point of view, so let's pretend like someone's an activist. They
Right.
joined a group, right? And I understand, and you're right to say that they have to understand that the organization has their own values and stuff like that. They got to see where they fit in, right?
Yes.
They may have a dream that they want to change those values somehow, right? Like you said, right? And they do have to learn to work together. So that's what it is. What it is. What's the best way for someone who might be? And I could see where someone ends up in a situation where they want to change their organization somehow. What's the way that they could maybe go about that in a way that's maybe going to be more
Well,
successful, or right, without leading to problems?
and this is interesting because one of the things is as organizations grow,
Because it's a common
you want,
temptation, right? It's a common problem. So that was a nice selection, because that's huge.
yeah, like one of the things, as an organization grows, you see people that represent the power
Yeah.
that's associated with the organization, and they want the power
Yeah.
of the collective strength of the organization. You see that
Mhm.
in the Libertarian Party. You see that in the Green Party. People look at it and go, there's an organization that is organized. It has capable people in it. It has smart people in it. It has dedicated people in it. And I want to use it for something that they won't like.
Okay. Out of all the organizations that you were in, which one was kind of like most lived up to these ideals, or was maybe they
Uh,
all didn't? Maybe they were all, but maybe.
well, and that's one of the things.
Okay.
I have had one Army unit okay, that did that. And that was leadership, and that's because the colonel that was in charge led from his values rather than leading from his self-interest.
Yeah. It's good to, when you see it, you can believe in it. Right?
Yeah,
Some
when
people
you
never have gotten to see that.
says something
But yeah.
through his actions, through what he says, the way he says it, the way he languages and phrases, you know, his intent and his purpose, you know that he's coming from the good place.
Yeah.
You know, versus you see other people and you watch them manipulate the language and you're going, no, you aren't in tune with the values of the organization. You aren't in tune with my values as a human being. You know, and it's like those points you sort of have to step up. So like right now with the Libertarian Party, we are having that issue. We have people who are trying a hostile takeover who look at our values and go, those values suck, but I like what the party represents in power and potential.
Okay.
So I'm going to divert all that power and potential to what I want.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are going, yeah, no, man.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, we
that
see it
don't
coming.
work.
We see it, yeah.
Yeah, we see it coming, and that don't work.
Hell
You know,
no.
it may work, but I've seen how long those fair weather people last. They
Gots to
don't.
go. Yeah, they got to go. Goodbye.
You know, you'll get a hostile takeover. You'll get a bunch of fair weather folks who say, yeah. You know, and 3 months into the process, they're going, this is too much work.
Aw, too bad. Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, that's all right. Yeah.
I almost want
Hey,
you to happen.
welcome back. Maybe they come back. You never know. Yeah. But I feel what you're saying.
They
Yeah.
might, but they
Commitment
might
is
come
huge.
back as actually better people.
So many people, right? Like I would say 95% of people, they flushing out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's one of the things. But that's one of the other things that's interesting as a leader of an organization. Yeah, and the Greens have had this problem because what they do is they burn people out fast. The Libertarians have this problem because they burn people out fast because they're not big enough to do everything that needs to be done.
Yeah,
So
people. Yeah, I get
doing
that. It's a
so
struggle,
much.
man. I mean, it's just tough to get the numbers out there. I mean, hopefully we can help you get those numbers. Yeah. I'm tired
Oh,
of
yeah.
losing. Yeah. But
Well,
hey, quick question for the next one, right?
Okay.
So we've been asking about these other things, like like understanding like your background, stuff like that. So what? But now let's take a look at your production. So what are you most proud of accomplishing?
Oh, jeez.
That's a tough one, right? Yeah. I know I just threw it at you. There's got to be something. What is it? Or maybe there's a couple of things. That's okay. You didn't have to be
My
just one.
kids. Honestly, my kids. You know.
Okay. But what
my
about
team-
something related to this, right? Yeah, something related to this political angle.
related to this, related to
That'd be
the
nice.
politics.
Yeah, the kids, of course, I get that, right? Yeah, but
You know,
we want to see your competence and like your ability to produce, right, in this particular arena.
one of the things I like is I'm actually starting to develop, you know, the relationship with the people and with the community. You know, it's no longer just, you know, my 3 friends, you know, we all meet up for coffee once a week and talk about what it's like to be a libertarian.
I find
No,
I find your relationship with KRTD media quite exciting. There's not a lot of candidates who will participate in media stuff at this level. They want to keep it all separate, but you're ready to do all the work. And honestly, I think
Yeah.
it's important for you, honestly, from doing it myself. It's important to know all aspects of the game. The fact of the matter is that you're not relying on some media pundit to tell you or some corporate campaign consultant to tell you how the YouTube game works. You're in it, interacting with it, understanding it in a more involved way. And just like people who have never been security guards are trying to pass laws on cops without really, with only talking to elites and managers and freaking people with degrees. Sure, you know what I mean? Yeah.
See, that's one of the things that's interesting, because during my time as a signals intelligence analyst in the United States Army, I was a jack of all trades. I was a subject matter expert that needed to create a product. Thing is I didn't have the support to create the product. So I had to learn to create the product from scratch. Carl Sagan talks about, in order to bake an apple pie from scratch, first you have to create a universe. Okay, I didn't have to go back and create a universe in order to create, these signals intelligence products. But it was going through the data, it was creating the communication, it was doing the slides, it was creating the videos, it was interacting and doing that perception, doing the telecommunications, back and forth between Yes, NSA. Shout out to NSA out there. I'm coming for you, man. I'm coming. Uh,
Let 'em know.
but it's learning to do all of that process. And here I am again, working on changing politics, changing relationships, changing community, through my version of actionism and saying, this is how we build community. This is how we build the networks that take down the exploiters, that take down the predators, that take down, and it's by organizing and creating that sense of community that is still capable of recognizing the individuality of everybody who participates and contributes.
That makes sense, man. So
nobody gets lost in the mass.
Yeah.
Everybody's an individual. Everybody's rights are respected by the community. But at the same time, everybody understands that the community needs them if we're all going to succeed. And I think that's one of the things about American culture, the deculturalization process, that we've lost. And it goes back to that Huey P. Newton thing, support the community. You start with the children, because the children getting their education, teaching the children to be part of the community.
Yeah.
Respect themselves so they don't become victims of predators, but still understand how to be compassionate to the members of the community so that everybody gets lifted up, rather than ending up with this tiered hierarchy of the Illuminati where only so many people are ever allowed to excel and become enlightened.
Well, as long as we're interacting, you're in my community. You know what I mean? So the thing is that there's a lot of celebs out there, you know what I mean, who I'm not interacting with, and they're not part of my community. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. So,
they're not.
You know what I mean? Nothing personal. Maybe sometimes it is, but just the fact of the matter, the people that work with me. So I love working with people in Idaho. I want to work with. We have people in California, Seattle. I got people in the Illinois, Florida, Texas. I'm excited to have you join. I think that the United Platform for 22 is a powerful program to help yourself as well as other candidates, and I hope that it can help you. So I want you to share your information with the audience right now. You have a social media, you have a YouTube, Twitter, things like that. What's up?
Yeah. So right now, my big thing is the Twitter account. I'm running on ID Joe for Congress. ID JOE, the number 4, Congress. That's my Twitter account. I do an awful lot of work on that. I have Cup of Joe with Joe that I do with KRTD Media. So if you follow KRTD Media, you'll see my periodicals show up every so often. I got one show I do for them a week.
Are you on the KRTD Media Discord?
Yes, I am on the
Hell
KRTD.
yeah, hit them up on Discord too, bruh.
Yeah, hit me up on the KRTD Media Discord. On the YouTube channel, I have my own Idaho Joe for Congress and Idaho Joe.
Is that a number 4 again?
Yeah, and Cup of Joe with Joe is the YouTube channel that, the stuff I do personally, independent of KRTD Media. All of it goes on. I got my social media pages with Facebook. I got my own personal page as well as 2 accounts, one Cup of Joe with Joe and the other one Idaho Joe. I distribute to both of those, so if you can find either one of them, my videos for the past 3 years are all stockpiled there, waiting for people to go back and take a look and go, you said this back then. Yeah, well, I know some different things now.
Hey, you know what? There's also, I want to give the people that are watching a reason to go and visit this stuff. So tell us about some upcoming projects you got coming up. Some exciting things, right? Yeah, what's coming up on, Cup of Joe? You know what I mean? What's up?
So one of the things, I actually have an interview that's going to be going on a little bit later today with one of our pro-marijuana Republican candidates running for a local seat.
All right.
Yeah, this is interesting. As one of the board members for Kind Idaho Medical Marijuana Consortium, Inc., we've gone through the reformation to become a 501c4 so that we can do that political actionism in support of medical marijuana and medical choice and freedom. Yeah, so we're stepping up on that front. But interviews with Kind Idaho Live, my own take. Yeah. You know, my own take on marijuana laws and policy, government policy, as far as making sure that, you know, we do the right thing by the people in the community,
Hell yeah.
whether that's medical access, decriminalization, you know, making sure that the community as a whole supports, you know, people who are going through withdrawals, people who are dealing with addiction, you know, and finding ways to work back through the healing of trauma that has sent an awful lot of people to, you know, inappropriate or overuse of drugs as a coping mechanism. You know, help them heal, man. Help them heal.
All right.
You know, we all like our coping mechanisms. Won't lie. You know, I got mine. I like them. But every so often, you need to step back and realize, and you know, sometimes the coping mechanism isn't what's best for you. Maybe you actually got to learn a coping skill and heal.
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I feel you.
Maybe. But
Okay. So
if
that's
you don't have the option, you get stuck in a rut.
So that sounds like a cool project, man. Yeah. So I'll definitely be looking for
So
that one. That's coming out
my
later
big one
today.
right now
Yeah.
is Kind Idaho, and go to kindidaho.org if you're interested in that. If you're interested in supporting medical marijuana in the state of Idaho, that's our big project right now. Other than that, you know, running for Congress.
You know, I have a separate set of questions that I asked for policy, that is for candidates. This is really going to my online activist series. That's why all the questions were, you know, like what's effective, stuff like that, right? What are your ideas and plans and ideas? So, yeah. So hope that you can come back for another interview one of these days soon. Yeah, definitely want it for the candidate series. Yeah, and that would also, are you also down to be part of Unified Platform for 22?
Send it to me, man.
Hell
Chances
yeah.
are I'll probably end up agreeing with at least 90% of it.
No, we want
You
you
know?
actually in to actually help build it. You know what I mean? The platform will be built by the people, right? It's not like we're gonna tell you what the platform is, right?
There we go.
Yeah.
There
So
we go.
if you guys can agree on stuff, like I'm hoping, right? Just by tradition, actually we encourage people to do. We've already had coalition meetings. We've all agreed that Fauci's whack for lying. That was fucking hilarious. Yeah. But by tradition, we have two things we start with. Number one, we try to say free Assange, right? We didn't always get it, but we did most of the time. The second one is that if our leaders do not step up and save us, right, from the 1%, right, that we'll just get up and do it our fucking selves. You know what I mean? And that's
That's it.
We always agree to that one. Yeah. So.
You know, it's power to the people. You know, the people are going to be the ones to save themselves. We can't trust somebody else to do it for us. You know, and that's one of those things. Absolutely anything.
But other than that, it's open. Anything you suggest, you know what I mean, as long as the majority agrees to it, if it's all technical and long and shit, good luck, man. You know what I mean? Good luck. But yeah.
That is one of the things that absolutely drives me crazy about the Green Party platform. The Green Party platform is 54 pages long.
Yeah, like they're working on it now, actually. They're working on it now. Yeah.
54 pages long.
And they're pro-COVID mandates. And they're pro-COVID mandates.
Right?
Yes.
You know, the Libertarian Party is a page and a half long, and it's simple. You know, and it's the baseline philosophy, and you go in and say, how does this apply to the philosophy? Yay, nay, go. But no, the Greens get into the nitty gritty, and this is how we feel about Palestine, and this is how we feel about the Ukraine.
You know, one of the people that we're working with, you're going to see on the on my DGL7.com website, if you go Unified Platform, is a guy called Brent from the Independent Greens of, I think he's from Oregon, and also, right, he's also in the Greens and Libertarians at the same time. There's a whole new movement of people like you, like me, like Brent out there that are ready to look past, right, these labels of Greens and Libertarians and just say, whatever you guys say, leadership, fuck it, we're working together. Fuck y'all, who cares?
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Just about anything that is grassroots up.
Yeah, we could get, if they could get behind you, you could win. Fuck it. You can fucking win.
It starts at home.
Yeah.
You know, my big thing running as a libertarian candidate is that libertarian policy at the federal level that says feds get out of the people's day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many rules and regulations that literally the average citizen commits 3 felonies a day because of a policy that was created by an administrative agent or an executive agency. It's like, these aren't felonies.
That shit. They be violating that shit all the time. The rules are for us, not for them.
Right. The rules are for us, not for them. And it's like, no, that's not the way that works. We created a constitution to limit you.
Yeah. Yeah, I ain't taking that shit.
Not so that you can limit us, and that's one of those things, bottom up, people up, community up. Your community is going to take care of you.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is get the feds out of the business of breaking up your community so that your mutual support network isn't there when the exploiters and the predators come to take from you.
That makes sense to me, man. Hey,
Give the power back to the people at the lowest level.
That's about
I
the
don't
show
care
right
whether
there. Yeah, go ahead.
form up as communist, as socialist, as long as it's cooperative and everybody in the community is on board with that model of the way the city, the way the community, the way the homeowners association wants to create their mutual aid society.
Yeah, don't worry about those labels. Yeah, like communist, whatever, like
you'll
whatever.
figure it out. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But the thing is I want to give you the chance to figure it out.
Appreciate that.
You don't have that choice right now.
Yeah,
the feds tell you got to do it this way, and if you don't do it this way, the FBI is knocking on your door saying, off to the gulag, man. You didn't fit the profile.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
We'll organize in the gulag then, man. We'll organize in the gulag.
I guess so.
Why
not, baby? I'm ready. All right, man. So it was real cool to meet you, man. I've been interested, yeah?
Good talking with you, DJ L7, and absolutely hit me up for the next interview. When you're ready to go there. I know, like, March is the big date for the file for an awful lot of people. Yeah. But one of the things you can do right now is go to the FEC.gov. Okay, anybody can go to FEC.gov and they can find who's running for those congressional seats, those national seats in your state. Go to FEC.gov, you'll get a little map, you'll click on your state will show up with its little congressional districts, and then you'll be able to click on your city and you'll be able to search, and it's like, who's running to be my senator? Who's running to be my congressman? And it will list everybody who's filed already, whether they're Republican, whether they're Democrat, whether they're Libertarian, whether they're, Socialist Party of America, whether they're, what's the PSL one?
Anyway. Party of Social Libertarians, I don't know.
Party of Socialization, Liberation,
Liberation, yeah.
It doesn't, if they are registered to run for a federal seat in your state, they are there, and you can look at them and you can find their policy, you can find their solutions to what your community problems are.
We're actually free data activists. One thing that did you see that says Rep My Block?
Yep.
So the thing is that we actually use FOIA request forms to actually get all the voter data registration, compile that, and make that available to candidates like yourself. We did that here in New York City. I don't know if we could do that in your state, but you may be able to find other free data activists to make that available for you, and then you could go to those households and increase your chances of winning. You know what I mean?
Oh, Idaho's open, man. Idaho's open. We actually have extremely good sunshine, despite the fact that we are a red as Crimson State, redder than the friggin' stripes on the flag behind me. We actually have significant degree of election integrity and election transparency. For $20 a month, we can pull the latest voter registration data in the state.
Damn.
Anybody, for $20. Where they live, what party they're registered with, so no, Libertarian Party here in the state, we're solid, man. We're good. $20 for an independent candidate. They got all the exact same information. Nice. It's all downloadable. It's all accessible.
Libertarians got this shit together. Libertarians got this shit together. It's good. It's a good program. Yeah.
It is. It is. If we could get every state in the United States to be as transparent on election, issues as the state of Idaho, okay, now our county clerks could use a little help because, our data entry at the county level, it doesn't always show up in the state spreadsheet looking exactly right. But, it's cleanable, it's something you can work with, which I know an awful lot of states, it's like, no, you got to pay $150 per district.
Oh, wait. Okay, so the Democrats use something called Action Network.
Yes,
which I
they did.
definitely encourage all groups, right, to get off of. Okay, I definitely think that it's a capture point for Democrats to
Oh, yeah.
capture your information. Even though they don't even have a Wikipedia page, you can't even like find out like when they were founded, or it's super spooky, you know what I mean? But yeah,
Super spooky.
yeah,
It's all
super
super
spooky.
spooky.
Yeah, it seems like some government agent shit for real. Yeah. Anyways, anyways,
Why
um,
does this look like a CIA op?
but what are some right? So I heard like the Republicans use something called Act Red, right? Yeah. But what about what do the Greens use? I forgot, right? Sometimes they use MPG van, like they'll go back and forth,
Uh,
right? But what are you guys using?
NPG van, I think that's largely an Act
That's
Blue
Dems.
thing,
That's Dems too. Yeah.
which is why, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Unfortunately, a lot of the
you
activists they use, right? Yeah, the Act Blue
Nation
tools, which is
Builder
not good.
is a
Oh
big
yeah, I heard
one
about that one.
to
I heard about that one.
use, and the Libertarians use Nation Builder as well.
Heard of that one.
Now,
Yeah.
so Nation Builder represents a pretty strong capture point for third-party organizations,
Yeah.
and as a general rule, Nation Builder does a pretty good job of keeping the firewall between the organizations.
Well, just so
So,
you know, people in my community, right? Yeah, I said you're in my community, right? I
yes,
will, if you want to, if you have a mailing list, right? I'll send your stuff out to my mailing list, and I hope
there
that your
you
stuff
go.
goes out on. You know, it doesn't have to be every time, but you know, just say, look, this is a guy. I mean, you could check them out. You know what I mean? And then if they want to sign up for your mailing list, that's right. I think as far as I should go. You know what I mean?
Where we're at, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we got, just drop the hint about kindidaho.org. We got our MailChimp account set up in the background.
Cool. Why not?
Sit down, register for the kindidaho.org newsletter that we send out once a week.
Yeah. You know, I do have a lot of press emails that I can just give you. So they're on a separate space. So I definitely hit you up for that press
Nice.
release. No doubt, man. Of course, man.
Love what you're handing me here, man. Love what you're handing me. This is, gold plate stuff.
Hey, man. That's what I'm
This is this guy. Everybody out there paying attention. I know you already know. This is coming from me. DJL7. This guy's an actionist.
Yeah.
About taking action.
Doing all of that, yeah. Hell yeah.
All of that. All of that.
All right,
man.
my man. So nice to meet you, my brother Joe.
You take care, DJL.
Thanks, man. Peace.
And you guys have a great day.
All right.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJL7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
Truth of these
We are
words
on all
is
the major
beyond doubt.
platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Daily Motion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos, make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.